Hello, and welcome to the second lesson in our integers unit, adding and subtracting larger integers. I'm glad that you all took the time and came and listened to the lesson, second class of our flipped classroom, trying something new out, and we'll see how this goes. But so far, a lot of people are telling me that they like it, so hey, you never know, maybe we're going to do this in the future again. So let's take a look at adding and subtracting larger integers. Yesterday's lesson and a lot of grade 7 was based on adding integers smaller than 10. And today we're going to be focusing on numbers larger than 10. Okay, so mostly double digit, but larger than 10 at least. Okay, let's take a look. Before we do that, we've got to look at this term absolute value. Now I know that in MathMinute we've seen this before. We see an integer and these two straight line brackets around them. And basically what we do is we ignore the sign inside of it, whether it's a positive or a negative sign, and we just write the number as it is. So the absolute value of positive 5 is simply 5, and the absolute value of negative 12 is just 12. Okay, that's really important for adding and subtracting larger integers. So we're going to keep that in mind. Let's take a look at adding. When we add integers with the same sign, it's really easy peasy. We'll be doing this all along. Regardless of the sign, if it's a negative in this case or a positive, we're going to just keep that sign going. So here it's just a negative. And we're going to add the absolute values of each of the numbers inside of the bracket. So we've got 17 and 13. If I add them together, I get 30. So the answer for this question would be negative 30. Now what's really important is that I'd like to see our answers when we respond in whether it's a quiz, a test, an assignment, or in our homework. We're always going to write our integers in brackets, and we always need a sign, regardless of its positive or negative. It needs to have a sign. In the Nelson textbook, they don't always have a positive sign, but we're going to put it down. Okay. Adding larger integers of different signs, this is where our absolute values come to play. So we've got positive 42. I love this little laser pointer function here. Positive 42 and negative 18. The way I learned it was like this. We've got a positive army and a negative army. First of all, which army has more people in it? Obviously the positive army. So since the positive army has more people in it, we're going to keep the positive army sign, which is a positive. And then we have the negative army was smaller, so we'll just ignore those guys. What we're going to do now is we're going to subtract the absolute values for these two numbers, 42 and 18. When I do that, it comes to 24. 24, positive 24 in brackets. So I keep the sign of the larger absolute value, and then I subtract these two numbers. I could do it on a calculator, but I'm going to only use a calculator if I need it. If I don't need it, in this case, I'm not going to use it. Subtracting larger integers with any sign really is kind of easy. What we try to do is we're going to add the opposite value whenever we have to subtract. What do I mean by adding the opposite value? Well, I'm going to take this subtraction sign and I'm going to change it to an addition sign because adding is usually easier than subtracting. And I'm going to change this second symbol, the opposite value of that, of negative 12, is going to be positive 12. So here, instead of doing negative 23 minus negative 12, I'm going to think of it as negative 23 plus positive 12. And I'm going to use that same trick from the last time, from adding the larger integers, which is I'm going to keep the sign of the largest whole absolute value, which is negative 23. I'll keep that negative, and I'll subtract these two numbers, 23 and 12, which would give me 11. So our answer for this question would be negative 11. I'm going to add the opposite values together. In the last example, we had two negative numbers. This one is going to be a positive and a negative number, but it doesn't really change anything. I'm going to do the same thing. I'm going to change this from a subtraction question to an addition question, and I'm going to change the sign of the second number from a negative to a positive. So instead of having positive 27 plus negative 12, I'm going to have a much simpler question, which is positive 27 plus positive 12. This is the kind of question we've been doing for years and years and years. So in math, we try to find tricks or techniques to help us make it easier, or at least related to types of questions that we are comfortable with and we can do very easily. And if I add positive 27 plus positive 12, then I get positive 39. Okay, so subtraction could be tricky, but I'm going to use addition since it's much simpler, and use my absolute values when I need to do them. I hope you took notes on that, and now it's time for our practice. So it's your turn. You're going to try these 4 questions for class tomorrow. And if you can show some work, that'd be great too. We'll take it up on the board, and I'm going to ask for some volunteers. So as soon as you come into class tomorrow, these questions will be up, and hopefully I get some people putting those questions up for Hooray for Initiative, okay? And if you could leave a comment on this video on my blog, that'd be really great. Please don't leave it on the YouTube site. Just straight onto the blog would be awesome under this post, okay? See you in class tomorrow. Bye.